Hi, everybody. This is Heather Petherick, the Career Freedom Coach for Women. This is day 2 of my Periscope series on career freedom. What is it, and how do we get more of it? So, thank you very much for joining me. I want to recap a little bit of yesterday's scope that I did, which was the first scope, talking about what is career freedom and the fact that it involves not just the time to do what we want when we want, but career freedom is also including the money, having the money to do what we want, and be able to afford the things that we want, not worry about the financial aspects of our lives. And the third piece of career freedom is the meaning. And that's the piece that I find most clients, most people forget about, and which trips us up and eventually leads to burnout, disengagement, frustration in our career. If we don't have a career that allows us to tap into what we find most meaningful, we're going to get disengaged pretty quickly. Thank you very much for joining me. As I said yesterday, this week signifies my first foray into Periscope. So thank you very much for sending me hearts. You can do that at any point. Just double tap on your screen and then I'll know that you're here. You're sending me the love and I really appreciate it. So thank you very much for doing that. My goal actually this week is to actually get up to 1,000 hearts. And I have to tell you that yesterday you guys blew me away. So my goal over 5 days is to get 1,000 hearts. And at the end of yesterday, I had 543 hearts. So I was actually really blown away. So thank you so much for anybody who's on the live broadcast or is watching the replay, because I feel the love and this is going so well. So keep it going. I'm actually thinking I may have to increase that goal. What do you think? Can we get there? I may increase it to, I don't know, maybe 2,000 hearts. Do you think we can do it? Okay. So, all right. We're going to get going here. As a recap from yesterday, I want to say that we talked about career freedom, how it includes 3 forms. It's money, time, and meaning. And that whenever you're in your career and you feel, thank you very much for those hearts. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Okay. Whenever you're feeling frustrated, burned out, disappointed with your career results, or feeling like you're the problem in your career, as a career coach that's been doing this for 8 years, I know that is a sign that means that some element of the career freedom that's important to you is being denied. You're either not getting the money, not getting the meaning, or not having the time freedom that you uniquely need. And each of us assigns a different priority level to those 3 things and needs a different degree of each of those. Okay? So don't fear that you're the problem. The problem is that you're in a career that isn't matching up with your natural desires. Okay? So that was what we talked about yesterday on the first scope. And what I want to talk about today is move into the second half of the title, which is how do we get career freedom? Now that we know what it is, how do we start to move towards a direction where we have more of it in our lives? Thank you for those hearts. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about is the fact that as human beings, we are hardwired to need to have a sense of freedom. Oh my God, you guys are blowing up this heart thing. This is awesome. Yeah, for 2,000 years, human history has demonstrated to us that we are always seeking more freedom. That's what humans are programmed to do. So it makes sense that in our lives, in our work, that we continually are looking for that as well. And we need to know what our form and extent of freedom is. I shared with you yesterday the truth that success, it comes down to one thing, and it's fairly simple. Success is really becoming who and what you are. The success is getting paid to be you. That's it. And as a career coach, that's really what my work comes down to, is helping clients understand who they are, how they are most naturally, and then finding a way in the world that they can be paid to be that person every day, all day. It's really that simple. Now, I want to talk about my story, because part of my intention with this scope is for you to get to know more about who I am and my own journey and how I came to be a career freedom coach for women. So this is how I learned very painfully about career freedom. I was, in my youth, I was probably not unlike most people-pleasing kids slash super nerds. I was always gifted with a fairly sharp brain and an ability to relate to other people well. So I spent my youth working really hard to do really well what my teachers, my parents, my friends, what everybody thought I should do. I did really good at that. And I went, and so university was never a question. It was like, you're going to go to university and get the heck on with life. So I did. I decided to enroll in agriculture school to take an ag degree because I had grown up in southern Alberta and gone to, or been raised on a farm. So that was pretty much my world. I knew farming and I knew that the industry needed, sharp women. So I thought, I'll get a job there. So I enrolled in ag school and did really well, graduated at the top of my class, and I was offered a promising grad position with the world's largest privately held company. And I was the envy of my classmates. And I thought, oh, this is awesome, right? My life is panning out just as I thought it would, and I'm destined for fame and fortune. But I found out very quickly that actually I had landed in white-collar career hell. I was on track for a management training position that would see me in a few months move to a global location and have a hand in managing that business. I was charged with, evaluating P&Ls, looking at commodity prices, hedging, forecasting markets, looking at, it was actually an animal nutrition business. And so I was looking at formulating different nutrition or different feeds for different types of livestock. And it was very number driven, very detail driven. It was in an office, at a desk, looking at a computer screen, for 8 to 10 hours a day. And if it's funny that I look back now because it was everything that I was not. I mean, it's ridiculous to me now. I know now that I am a total extrovert. I'm somebody who cannot concentrate for long periods of time on something extremely detailed. I'm a big picture, high energy, lots of idea type of person. And so don't get me wrong. I mean, it was a fantastic job. The people were brilliant. The company is still to this day amazing. I feel grateful that I had the experience. It was a great job, but not for me. It was a great job for somebody completely different. And as a young person, that was my first painful lesson in how far wrong a smart person can go when they don't know who they are and how they are. Yeah. And so actually that was the crucible that was the catalyst for me to begin to realize that if I could get it so wrong, that people-pleasing, top of the class, super nerd girl could go so wrong in my career, I knew that there had to be other people that were experiencing the same sort of slap up the head when they entered the work world. So that actually started, as painful as that experience was, it introduced me to the idea of career coaching and how I could serve other people. It introduced me to what I find most meaningful. Anyway, so that's the one thing I want to talk about today in today's scope is that one element, there's actually one of 3 things that you need to master in order to ultimately achieve the career freedom that is perfect for you, the time, the money, and the meaning combination. The first thing that you need to master, and that I stumbled upon in that painful experience, was that you need, oh, thank you so much, Free 99. I love the hearts. Thank you. Is that you need to know who you are. And I'm going to call this element the awareness piece. You have got to know, like at every level of your being, in your bones, thank you very much, you got to know in your bones who you are and how you are. And specifically, I'm going to talk about 2 of these things, which is your personality and your natural talents and aptitudes. Okay, let's talk about those 2. There's actually a third, which is what's most meaningful to you, but I'm going to talk about that piece, give it special attention. Thanks. Give it special attention tomorrow because the meaning piece is kind of slippery. And we'll talk about it exclusively tomorrow. But for today, let's talk about the personality piece and the aptitudes or the talents. Oh, I love those hearts. Thank you guys. You were so generous. This is awesome. So, the first thing that I had to master along my journey to career freedom was awareness. You need to know what your natural talents and aptitudes are and what your personality is. Now, the truth is that from the moment each of us was born, from the moment we were hardwired to have certain gifts, talents, qualities about us that are fairly consistent for our entire life. I mean, there's nurture and there's nature. But each of us was hardwired from birth for us to be naturally good at some things and naturally not so good at other things, right? We naturally come with a slate of strengths and weaknesses, and we had better get really intimate with what those are. And the sooner we do it, the better our life becomes, and the more creative we begin to experience. So there were certain gifts. Hi from Cape Cod. Awesome. But glad that you're joining us today. So let's talk about the abilities piece. Now, there are two types of abilities that you're given. One is the mental capacities that you were given. There are certain tasks that your brain is just naturally wired to do and does them brilliantly and effortlessly. Other things, not so much. Same with physical skills. You know how some people are just natural athletes and some people, like myself, are very not natural athletes. And though that's just the way that you are. And the sooner you understand how you are and make decisions that are appropriate for who you are, the better life gets. So whenever you're feeling frustrated in your career, feeling like you're the problem, you're not measuring up, the truth is that you're not the problem. The problem is that you have gotten into a role that requires you to be good at things that you are not, and it demands that you are someone that you aren't. So why would you continue to torture yourself in a job for a paycheck when you could just simply shift your career focus and do something that is much more natural, comes much more easily, and you get rewarded much more quickly for relatively less effort? That's where career freedom is all from. So the good news is that when you're clear on, or when you decide that you need to get more clear on who you are and what you have to offer and how you want to interact with the world, there are lots of tools, inventories, and assessments that you can take even online. Some of them are even free, that can help you really understand who you are and how you operate most naturally. Now, some of these you've probably heard about yourself, or in your career, if you've been at it for a few years, a lot of organizations actually will use these tools with their employees in their personal development or professional development programs, so you've probably heard of them. Things like the Myers-Briggs type inventory, that's probably the gold standard for personality assessments. Love it. There's also very popular today things like the DISC assessment. It's more behavioral. In terms of aptitudes, tons of great aptitude assessments online. The one that I use with my clients, it's called the Rockport. It's out of the United States. Love it. And the thing that I love about using these tools is that it's easy, it's unbiased, and the results give thanks, okay, bye-bye. They give clients sometimes a fantastic look in the mirror, because oftentimes in our life we think that we're the problem. We're not measuring up, we're not as good, we compare ourselves unfairly to other people that have a whole different set of aptitudes and abilities, and we think that we're lazy, we're weak, and that we're the problem. And these assessments, whether they're aptitude or personality, they are a precious opportunity for us to put all that of blame and guilt and comparing aside and begin to see sometimes for the first time who you really are. It's like getting early points up on the board in a game. You know where you stand, and you don't have to blame yourself for how you are anymore. And it's that first critical step of accepting and being aware of who you are and what you have to offer the world. So, in terms of what you need to master along your path to career freedom, this is essentially the easiest thing. You go out, you get your hands on an aptitude test or two, you dissect your personality with some of the great, powerful tools that are out there, and you begin to see who you are and how you naturally are. And then you can begin to make more powerful career decisions to actually orient yourself to a career and to a role that uses what you naturally have on tap. Cool? Yeah, very cool. So I wanted to share that content with you. And now for those of you who are still on the broadcast, I want to invite you to send your questions. Anything that I've talked about, any questions you have about what I do, my clients, or anything that I've shared with you today, type in your comment or your question in the box below, and we'll spend a few minutes answering those questions for you. In the meantime, keep tapping your screen. Yeah, thank you. Give me 2,000 hearts. Oh my God, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. Maybe I'm going to have to keep upping that goal. You guys are blowing my mind. Yeah, share this with your Twitter followers. You can even paste the link into Facebook if you want to. I would love it. Thank you so much for being generous, you guys. We're blowing up this broadcast about career freedom. And I'm so glad that you're here. So if there's any questions you have about anything I've shared today, please type those in. Thank you, Free99. You're awesome. Send hearts, share this with your friends. If you're interested in learning more about who I am and what I do with clients as the Career Freedom Coach for Women, you can go to my website, which is heatherpetherick.com, HeatherPetherick.com. That's my website. So seeing no questions, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for listening. Hi, John. Thanks for joining us. And tomorrow, we're going to be talking about that other element of awareness that you need, which is what is meaningful to you. And just like personality and talents, there are certain experiences and events in your life that make certain situations more meaningful to you than others. Unfortunately, there isn't a test that we can, give you that will say, huzzah, this is what is most meaningful to you in your career. So working with a coach can certainly help excavate the truth about the meaning piece that you absolutely must have in your career along your path to career freedom. Sound good? What time is it going to be tomorrow? Do you know what? Because this is my first week, we're kind of playing it by ear. I'm committing to doing a Periscope broadcast once a day, but I'm not doing it at the same time each day. Of course, there is the replay that you can watch, and actually, we're going to be hosting the replay on my website later, so go to heatherpetherick.com, and you'll be able to see all 5 of this week's Periscope broadcasts there as we create them, okay? All right, thanks you so much for joining, guys. Thanks for helping me reach my goal of 1,000, maybe 2,000 hearts. We're going to get there, and I hope to see you tomorrow, okay? Take care.